It's awards time, and it's time to present awards for peace. It's a peace award ceremony. And I wanted to remind us what peace means. Peace is not about the absence of guns. It's not about the absence of mortar shells and artillery. Peace is about creating an enabling environment for people in countries around the world to survive and to thrive. That's what peace is about. It's about how we have space for people to reach their fullest development potential. In the global context where the average level of global peacefulness has decreased by 30%, a whole 30%, it is important that we recognize that there are countries around the world that are doing everything they can to ensure peace. Before I call up those presenting the awards, I will leave something with you. I had the unfortunate opportunity to have to go to an area where people were fleeing conflict and where they were confronted with flooding. And I met a woman who, in fleeing the flooding, in fleeing the conflict, she confronted the flood and lost 4 children. Not 4 of 5 children or 4 of 6 children. She lost all her children in the flood. It's not a story that somebody wrote as some fairy tale story or something like that. It's a real life. And this woman said to me, in the beginning she didn't want to speak. And she was facing the ground with her finger in the dirt, just drawing in the dirt. And when she finally stood to speak, she said, "We have nightmares." She didn't say, "I'm crying for my children." She didn't say, somebody has caused me to lose all the children I've ever given birth to. She said, "We have nightmares." Peace is not about guns. It's about an enabling environment for people to survive and thrive. Can I please call up Savannah Cogmarin, and can I please call up Dr. Obi Ezekwesili to present the WPL Peace Awards for this Peace Awards ceremony. Further down. Are we going to come down? Yes, I'm going to pull them. Okay. The rationale and all that. Yes. Is that right? Okay. We just give them. Just at the end of that. Okay. So the WPL Peace Awards recognizes the achievements made by the hard work and dedication of people and institutions to peace around the world and within their own countries. These awards are presented to countries based on 2022 data from the Global Peace Index produced by the Institute for Economics and Peace, which is the world's leading measure of global peacefulness. This is evidence-based. This report presents the most comprehensive data-driven analysis to date on trends in peace, its economic value, and how to develop peaceful societies. Over the last year, a continuing trend blights most of the last 14 years. It is even more important to celebrate countries which have successfully striven to record improvements in the areas of societal safety and security, ongoing domestic and international conflict, and the degree of militarization. These awards are not just because we like these countries, but because these countries have worked to secure the peace for their people. These countries which will be receiving the rewards have societies which feature among the most peaceful in the world. and we know we all need peace. We will start by calling on Iceland. Iceland is represented by Dilja Mist Einarsdóttir, Hala Signy, and Astildur Lau Pordistor, who are all members of the Alþingi, the National Parliament of Iceland.
Thank you. Isn't just realized we have to take us home?
Dear guests, first we'd like to thank women political leaders for the opportunity to take part in this event. Iceland remains the most peaceful country in the world, according to last year's Global Peace Index, and Iceland also ranks as the most gender equal country in the world.
Yes.
These two facts make the Icelandic government a strong and credible representative of the message that gender equality goes hand in hand with stability and peace in the world. And this is one of the reasons gender equality has been a high priority for the Icelandic government in recent years, and a lot remains to be done in that field, we are well aware. On behalf of Iceland, we express our sincere gratitude to WPL to this meaningful award. Thank you.
The second country we'll be calling on to honor is Ireland. And Ireland is represented by Maria Welsh, MEP, and Senator Aisling Dolan and Deidre Clune, MEP.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. It's an honour to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and may I say welcome to the European Parliament. I'm here with my colleague Maria Walsh. Deirdre Clune is my name. We're both members of this Parliament, and Aisling Dolan is a representative from our Senate in Ireland. So I really would like to thank women political leaders for organising the event, and I also want to acknowledge and congratulate all those other delegations who are going to be receiving an award today. Ireland has been ranked the second most peaceful, as you know, country in Europe and third in the world according to the latest global index. And I'm conscious that as we're standing here, we're really receiving that we're standing on the shoulders of many who went before us, and a lot of hard work was done to bring us to this point. It's a testament to our domestic political stability and the economic opportunity our country provides to citizens. It's rather fitting that in 2023, this year, which marks Ireland's 50th year of our membership of the European Union, that we rank so highly. So the economic, political, thank you for that, we're very proud of it, 50 years. So the economic, political and societal development of Ireland since joining the European Economic Community in 1973 has been nothing less than seismic, particularly for women and for gender and for gender equality. We have made enormous strides in those 50 years, and the EU has helped also to modernise our country, and European funds have played a vital role in building the foundation blocks for our open, free, pluralist democracy, not to mention supporting peace in Northern Ireland, and very proud of the peacekeeping role that women played in bringing about that peace. However, at this time I think we should also acknowledge and think especially of the people of Ukraine, millions who are facing displacement, intimidation and destruction of their homes and livelihoods because of Russia's invasion. I think that's important for us. So today is a very positive day. The three of us here today are very, very proud to accept this award. I'd like to thank again women political leaders for inviting us this afternoon, applaud them for their work, especially their role in maintaining international peace and for fostering friendly relations across the world. I think that's really important. So thank you all. We're very honoured and delighted with the award that we're receiving today. Congratulations
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you.
The third country that will be honored today is Japan. And Japan is represented by His Excellency Ambassador Masaki Yasushi, Mission of Japan to the European Union.
Distinguished guests and distinguished leaders, I'm very honored to represent our country, Japan, for receiving this famous and very important award. As all of you know, our country, Japan, has tried our best to contribute to the peace and stability of the world after 2 wars. And I think this award has shown one consequence of our efforts. But unfortunately, still today, we are facing in a very difficult situations, not only around Europe, but also Asia, Africa, Middle East, South America. I promise to you, Japan would like to continue to work with all of you to respect and to keep our basic values, the rule of law, freedom, and democracy. Thank you very much.
The fourth country we'll be honoring today is Canada. And Canada is represented by Rachna Mishra, acting chargé for Canada's mission to the European Union.
I did that.
So thank you very much to the Women Political Leaders Organization for bringing us here together today. I'm very honored to accept this award on behalf of Canada. At a time where global peace is being challenged, it is more important than ever for democracies to defend the rules-based international order, including through finding peaceful solutions to ongoing conflicts. We have seen the benefits of women's meaningful inclusion in all facets of social, economic, and political life, and in fostering peace. And to this end, Canada will continue to champion gender equality and the inclusion of women. Let me end with a quote from our former Prime Minister, Lester B. Pearson, who stated, "Of all of our dreams today, there is none more important or so hard to realize than that of the peace in the world." Thank you.
Fifth on the list is Bulgaria. Bulgaria is represented by Rositsa Kirova, Vice President of the National Assembly.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. In the middle, maybe put in the middle. For the picture. Okay. Now you come to the middle. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. No. For that one. Thank you. First.
Thank you very much.
for this award. It's a privilege for me to accept it on behalf of my country, Bulgaria. To us, this is a fair appreciation for everything that was achieved by Bulgaria in respect of peace and with respect to solidarity with victims of aggression, of war, conflicts throughout the years. It took faith, conviction, and persistence to achieve the goals that we had and stay firm on the path of helping war conflicts to be solved by ways of diplomacy and solidarity to those who were attacked. I'm sorry for the emotion. Bulgarian people never doubted when we had to decide how to treat a local conflict and why peace initiatives are of utmost importance. To assure a peaceful environment is extremely important and is an obligation and an obligatory condition for the development of our society and of humanity as a whole. This is the only way that our societies can outspread their entire potential. All our efforts should be aimed at improving people's lives by holding to the principles of justice, support, and responsibility for all our deeds. I am sure that by conducting policies which engage more women in different projects, in governance, we will give the world an opportunity to become a better place. And that is what we have to keep on doing. I am sure that every woman, every human being feels deep concern and compassion when a conflict zone opens and the war treats to enter a home, one of our homes. For every home is of importance and every home matters. And the world of peace and prosperity is a dream that we should strive to make true. This award is not only recognition, but a huge responsibility to us as well. I can assure you that Bulgaria will continue to be a strong supporter of peace and security and will do its utmost to help solving and preventing conflicts, not only in Europe, but worldwide. Because there is nothing more faithful than war, because there is nothing more frightful than war and all the horrible coincidences that it brings with it. So let me thank you once more and express my gratitude to the World Political Leaders Organization for this award. Thank you very much.
So if you're just joining us online or in the room, we've been here all day. We didn't just get here. Standing behind me are Silvana Koch-Marin, the president of WPL, and Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, the chair of the board of WPL. And I did this introduction again because I'm excited about number 6. Because number 6 is from the continent of Africa, where we have so much chaos and conflict. Botswana. And Botswana is represented by Tibatso Future Baleseng, Minister Counselor, Embassy of the Republic of Botswana in Belgium, and delegation to the European Union.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and the people of Botswana, I am privileged to accept the Women in Political Leadership Peace Award for the most peaceful countries in the world. We are privileged to accept this award alongside a set of dynamic countries committed to the maintenance of peace and security nationally, at the regional level, and also globally. This award is indeed an honor to the people of Botswana, who have worked very hard to lay the foundation for peace and put in structures for its maintenance over the years. It is an honor to Botswana's forebearers, who left a legacy of good leadership, good governance, and participatory democracy. We are therefore particularly grateful to the WPL for bestowing Botswana with such a prestigious and internationally renowned recognition. We also wish to express deep appreciation for the contribution which the WPL has made to the empowerment of women across the globe since it was established a decade ago. This global platform has enabled the exchange of views, best practices, and networking for the advancement of women. Having listened to the deliberations from this morning, I am convinced that the work done by this organization serves a very important purpose of inspiring and motivating governments across the globe to prioritize the participation of women in politics, as this has proven to be a critical vehicle for the attainment of peace, security, dignity, and prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, this year Botswana will celebrate 57 years of independence. This may be a short period in the history of nations, but testament to the importance of combining modern principles of democracy and nations' own traditional culture to guarantee enduring peace, stability, and opportunities for the development of the people. Since independence, our most valued currency and credibility as a state has always and remains a system of government that is responsive to the voice of the people and delivers on their needs. Over the years, we have made crucial, substantial strides in women in leadership by creating institutions that afford deserving women leadership positions. Botswana continues to rank high globally in terms of women in C-suite positions, both in the public and private sectors. We recognize areas where more still needs to be done. We wish to assure excellencies and distinguished delegates gathered here of our commitment and devotion to improving the gains already made by taking proactive steps to increase the number of women in active politics, including in parliament. We aim to achieve that by providing training and mentorship, promoting women's leadership skills, increasing the visibility of women leaders, and addressing gender-based violence. In conclusion, I wish to underscore that Botswana considers this award as a recognition and encouragement to remain faithful to our founding principles of democracy, development, self-reliance, unity, and Botho. By Botho, we mean a yardstick for good behavior, respect, and consideration for others. I thank you for your attention.
We've come to the last part of our agenda for the day, but it's definitely not the least important. A very important part of our agenda. At this stage, we've had many keynote messages. We've had the Peace Awards. We've really discussed the issues around women's participation, representation, what it means, and how the UN Charter is reflected in how we all engage as one world. I now have the privilege to introduce to you Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament, and also Svietlana Tsikhanouskaya, National Leader of Belarus and Head of the United Transitional Cabinet. They will both be coming up and giving us keynote speeches that will summarize our day's deliberations and will give us food for thought going into tomorrow. I know by this time you're tired of seeing me and hearing me, right? But because I just love you so much, I decided to come back. And you can't throw me out. So you just have to deal with me. This is a short piece of information just to indicate that Roberta Metsola is still not yet in the building, so we are going to be moving ahead, and we will be having Sviatlana Sikhanouskaya coming up by herself, and that'll be just in a moment. Thank you. So as you can see, there's a real competition between me and my partner here as to who's the last to fix the chairs. So I came back just to fix these two chairs, so that I'll be the last to fix the chair before she comes back in. No, but just saying to you, please don't leave. She will be in any moment. She's coming through protocol and will not come back up again. When she walks in, she'll come all the way straight to the podium and take her seat and start her message. Thank you for your understanding. I promise you I'm not back because I just like to talk. But I'm back because we need to make a little bit of an adjustment. What we want to do at this stage is to wait for the President of the Parliament so that we have the speeches together. And while we're doing that, we want to move ourselves for our family photo so that we have a smooth flow. After the speeches, we take the family photo and then we're done. So I'm asking all of the WPL members to please fill the empty spaces in the middle. All of the MPs, please fill the empty spaces in the middle. Please just change seats, and then everyone else come as close to the edges of these two sides as you can, so that when the speeches are over, we'll take the family photo. So we're all moving inwards. Let me put it that way. We're moving inwards. So you don't want to be caught on the extreme right or left where you won't be in the photo. So MPs, please fill the middle. Let's fill the middle. And if there's still empty seats afterwards, please just let's all move in. We still have some seats here in the middle, 149, 150, 151, 152, 121. All those seats are still empty. Please just fill. Please don't be shy to move over. Please just fill in the empty seats. And if the ushers can help also, that'll be great. Ladies, gentlemen, distinguished guests, it is my honor to introduce at this time the distinguished President of the European Parliament. We are in the hall that she leads, and I would like to welcome Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament, up to the podium. Coming along with her, is Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, who is coming on the right of her and who is going to speak to us now in her capacity as national leader of Belarus and head of the United Transitional Cabinet. Over to you.
So, dear President Metsola, dear President Koch-Marin, dear friends, today I'm privileged to speak on behalf of Belarusian people and primarily on behalf of the Belarusian women. In times of war, it's obvious that more women in politics will mean more empathy, humanity, and wisdom in our decisions. These are exactly the things that we need in the world now and ever. I really appreciate the efforts of WPL to bring women politicians together so that we can exchange our experiences and inspire each other. And I know that I'm among friends here. Last year, you honored me with your wonderful Trailblazer Award. And I have to confess that after 3 years in politics, I still don't think of myself as a politician. I never wanted to be a political leader. However, I became one, out of love. It was love for my husband, Sergei, that made me take his place in presidential campaign of 2020. Lukashenko was so afraid of Sergei that he put him in jail. The dictator never played fair. At that moment, I had other things on my plate, raising my son and my daughter. They were my focus. My older son especially, so because of he's a boy with special needs. For a long time, I was trying to rehabilitate him without knowing whether it would help him or not. Same thing with fighting for Belarus now. I don't know when we will win, but we have to work hard and hope for the best. As we all know too well, women are often overlooked in this life, especially in politics, which is still considered to be a man's world, even in democratic countries, not to speak of such patriarchal countries as Belarus. Lukashenko himself said a way that our constitution is not made for a woman president. People will not accept that. He was wrong. First, there is nothing in it made for men only. And if there is, there must be something wrong with the office, not with women. Second, Belarusian people had nothing against a woman president. All the opposite. They were tired of an old self-styled macho man who was abusing the country for 26 years. He spoke of Belarus as of his beloved, which he was not going to give away. And of course, he was ready to make her obey using his only advantage, violence. In the first place, Lukashenko got rid of men whom he perceived as the main threat for his power. It meant my husband Sergei, a presidential hopeful Viktor Babarika, and others. Soon it turned out that from all the registered oppositional candidates, it was just me who had a chance to beat Lukashenko. As a result, various political groups joined forces. In my presidential campaign, I was joined by two other women, Maria Kolesnikova and Veronika Tsepkalo. And it took us only 15 minutes to agree and unite. Which sometimes takes months of men in politics. In the beginning, people were skeptical about our chances. Then something happened. What was a bug became a feature. Belarusians have seen the female, more human face of politics. The three young, smart, modern women embodied a different future for Belarus. We won people's hearts and people's minds. And eventually, on August 9, 2020, I won the election. We all won. Belarusians won. Lukashenko wasn't man enough to accept that he lost to a woman whom he previously dismissed as a housewife. He was furious. He proclaimed himself a winner. That very day, people took to the streets to protest that blatant falsification. The police cracked down on protesters with unprecedented brutality. First shots were shot. First lives were lost. The prisons became torture chambers for thousands of the detained. I was threatened by the KGB and told that for the sake of my children, I should leave the country immediately. In those circumstances, I made the decision that I will always live with. I agreed to leave Belarus. Thousands of others didn't have the choice. In those days of terror, I was in despair, thinking of giving up. But the Belarusian people gave me the courage to go on. Belarusian women became first to protest against police brutality. Dressed in white, stepped boldly into streets full of riot police and KGB, they marched. They had lost all fear. The whole world saw those pictures. The story of Belarusian revolution is the story of Belarusian women. It is the story of Maria Kolesnikova, who tore her passport in pieces so that police couldn't throw her out of her own country. She is serving 11-year sentence. It's the story of Polina Sharenda-Panasiuk, who told the judge that she didn't recognize the right of the illegal court to judge her. She got 3 years. Recently, she declared that she would renounce Belarusian citizenship in protest against being tortured in prison. It is the story of Volga Zolotar, a mother of 5, who is serving a 4-year prison term just for helping her neighbors self-organize through their local Telegram chat. It is the story of Katerina Andreeva, a journalist of Belsat TV, who was broadcasting live a police crackdown on protesters until she was detained. She was sentenced to 8 years and 3 months in prison. It is the story of Nina Baginskaya, a 76-year-old woman defiantly confronting heavily armored young men, who was often arrested and sent to psychiatric asylum for her solitary protests. It is the story of Daria Losik, who took care of her 4-year-old daughter after her husband Igor was arrested. She has a 2-year sentence, and her daughter is living with her grandparents. It is the story of Natalia Suslova, a university teacher from Gomel, whose son Pavel Volod, gave his life fighting for Ukraine. She went there and became a caring mother to his brothers in arms. If she returns to Belarus, she will face years in prison for supporting extremism. Today, there are about 200 women political prisoners in Belarus. I have no doubt that any of them could be a politician or a public official in the future democratic Belarus, including being a president. But first, they must stay alive and must be released. We have to do everything we can to bring them back to their families. We must demand their unconditional release. We must remember that when we vote for what the dictator wants us to vote, for example, the lifting of sanctions, we contribute to this women's suffering. So let's express our solidarity with Belarusian political prisoners by becoming good mothers to them and by writing them letters and postcards. Every gesture of support means it brings freedom closer. You know, dear friends, the struggle of Belarusian women that began in 2020 is not over. The victory of Belarusians over the dictatorial regime of Lukashenko is inevitable. The victory of Ukraine over Russian revanchism is a matter of time and our solidarity. And the victory of democracy over tyranny is our common task and duty. So stay with Belarus, stay with Ukraine, stay with democratic Europe.
I would like to thank Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya for touching our hearts and our souls so deeply. And now I will give the floor to President Metsola.
Thank you very much, dear friends, dear leaders. 10 years after the inaugural Women Political Leaders Summit in the European Parliament, we are back here, in the heart of Europe. I'd like to thank you, dear Silvana. Thank you for organising this coming together. Thank you for inviting me to be able to talk with you. I have a few messages to say that there is still more to be done to encourage women and girls across the world to lead, to become forces of change, and to help other women rise. I start with saying that there are few better examples of outstanding and courageous female leadership under unimaginable pressure than that of Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya. Svetlana has inspired, has led, and has endured. She has become the global personification of a free and democratic Belarus. And let me say here to you, I've said it before, but in front of our colleagues and leaders in this room, that the age of dictators will come to an end. That Belarus will be free, and that when that day comes, it will be thanks to women like Svetlana and like Maria Kolesnikova, who has been illegally jailed for over 1,000 days. We will stick together. But the truth is that even with role models, even with leadership, there are still too many obstacles. too many unbroken ceilings. And this is not just in politics, it is across the board. Too many career paths remain blocked. I'm proud of the work that this Parliament has done to change, to keep adding cracks to that previously impenetrable ceiling, to change the course for so many women. Because despite the challenges, women in leadership positions have changed the world. Women in business, women in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, women in education, women in the arts and in journalism. They have broken barriers and disposed of taboos to the dustbin of history. And we have to say this more. We must continue to work hard to make women's contribution to society more visible. The message of female leadership that was passed on to all of us must now be passed on by us tenfold. Women political leaders today must be multipliers and drivers of leadership in women going forward. We don't say that enough, and we don't do that enough. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the women in my country who endured to make my path possible. And I want to repay that going forward. And every time we fall, and in politics and life we all do, we are pulled back, up, by other women who have been through it all before us. And that's my appeal when I speak to young girls across our union. We have to pull each other up. I visit a lot of countries and I talk to young people. We are 1 year away from the European elections. I always get the same question wherever I go. What's your advice? How do we do it? I'm scared to enter politics. It's hard, especially for women, young women and girls who need to fight hard for a place at the table. My answer is that being in politics is not easy. Being a woman in politics doesn't make it any easier. But I was fortunate to grow up with the mantra that if you work hard enough, if you want it enough, if you are ready to climb that mountain, then nothing can hold you back. Not your gender, not your background. But it is harder than it should be. Too many still fall through the cracks. And we cannot be complacent to the sidelining of women, or we risk missing out on many excellent candidates that could be the catalysts of enormous societal change. And that depends on political parties, on legislation, but most importantly, on societal change that we must push through. It depends on role models. We can be glad to see how many of us are here in this room, how many more women, as each election goes by, take up leadership positions. But more still needs to be done. What we need is a real change in the mindset in many countries, I would say in all countries, to allow more inclusion, for more women to run for election and get elected. I am proud of the adoption, finally, took a while, of the Women on Boards Directive last November, a breakthrough for gender equality in European society. It took almost a decade for what should have been obvious. We can also be proud of how this Parliament, and I see colleagues here, are pushing for equal pay provisions for equal work. Employers will have to be more transparent about the pay gap between female and male workers in order to close it. And this is also a standard reply, not a standard question. Oh, in our country there's none, no gap. And you start to ask questions. How difficult is it for a woman to enter the career path after having children? How difficult has it been since the pandemic, where women took over the role of carer across the world, both for the older and younger generations? We will be feeling the effects of that, not only from a mental health perspective, but from an economic and societal perspective for years to come. We need to say it. Nobody else will. And it was women parliamentarians, continues to be women parliamentarians in this House, who ensure that the toughest of negotiations for equality come through, so that little by little by little, step by step, this world can become a little bit more equal and a little bit more fair. We can level the playing field. Events like this are crucial for this to happen. Let's not wait another 10 years for this to happen again. Thank you for organising this. Thank you for the inspiration. Let's continue working together, and ultimately, let's stick together. Thank you.
I would like to use this opportunity to thank President Metsola for her fantastic speech, her inspiring speech. And I'm sure all of you are uplifted as I am. And I just want to quote her: if you work hard enough, if you want it bad enough, then you have to climb that mountain. I will now invite Savannah Kokmarin and Dr. Obi Ezekwesili up to the podium for their closing remarks.